let's get into the presence of the people that were in room 2 before you took the confession. It's your evidence that you went to the other room where you collected the pro forma. You agree?
Ek het uitgestap om na die senior landrus toe te gaan. Ek het daar in die gang gekry en sy het vir my die papier voorsien en ek is terug in die kantoor.
I went out on my way to the senior magistrate. I then met her or found her in the passage. She then provided me with the documents. I then went back to the office. Ngaphuma ke ngenjongo yokuthi ngiya kuyena ke ophethe omanje noma imanje ngahlangana naye ke lapho epassage wasenginikeza ke amaphepha ngabuyela kule office ngangikulona.
So we need clarity. I think the court will need clarity in terms of the pro forma, the pro forma that you were given by Mrs. Du Plessis. Is it a statutory form or just a guideline?
Dit is net 'n leiding. Dit is nie 'n statutêre vorm nie, voorgeskrewe vorm nie.
It's not a prescribed form, a statutory form. It is just a guideline. Akusona ke iform ungathi iform njena ke lena anginikeza yona noma mhlawumbe anginikeza wona akuchazelayo ke nje noma ke ayinkomba ukuthi yini ekufanele uyenze.
For the benefit of the public, can you explain what is a statutory form?
Voorgeskrewe vorm.
It's a prescribed form. Uma ukhuluma ke nge-statutory form, iform ke leyo engathi ke iyona ke kufanele isetshenziswe.
Do you agree with me that a statutory form is more reliable than a guideline or a pro forma form that you completed on the day?
Dit mag so wees, maar ek weet nie van 'n bekende statutêre voorgeskrewe vorm nie.
It might be the case, but I don't know of a statutory form or a confession statutory form. Ungenzeka ke lokho khulumayo ke ukuthi ke yona ke statutory form yona ke mhlambe inikeza okuningi ke kodwa angiyazi ke leyo form leyo noma ekuyiyona ekubizwa ngokuthi statutory form uma kuhanya noma kwenziwa yona i-confession.
In essence, a statutory form will contain all the prerequisites of a particular provision, particularly section 217. Do you agree with that?
Ek weet nie wat se vorm u na verwys nie.
I don't know which form are you referring to. The form okhuluma ngayo angiyazi.
As dit 'n voorgeskrewe vorm is, dan behoort die persone wat dit opgestel het daaraan te voldoen, aan wetgewing te voldoen.
If it is a prescribed form, then it means that the people that is now, or the legislature, or the people that came up with the document, then need to, in other words, to meet those requirements.
Dit bly nog steeds die plig van die landdros op die persoon wat die bekentenis afneem.
It is still the duty, but it still remains the duty of the magistrate or the person taking down the confession.
Om seker te maak dat die vrae wat gevra word sodanig is dat dit baie duidelik is dat hierdie formaliteitsvereistes aan voldoen is.
That the questions that are asked, or the questions that are contained in there, that those questions then meet the requirements or the needed requirements.
Indien die vorm wat voorgehou word. Ekskuus, ek verstaan nie die beweging wat jy maak met jou hand.
I don't understand this movement you are making with your hand.
No.
Dit is, ekskuus agbare, dit is, your lordship, it is baie distracting.
It's distracting, my lord.
I believe if it's distracting, I'm sorry for that. But there's another way that I'm using my hands to rethink or to connect in terms of my reasoning. Do you understand?
Ek verstaan, maar ek sal waardeer as u dit nie doen nie, want dit is nou die eerste keer wat u dit doen vandat u my vra.
I understand, but I would request that you don't do it again, because it's the first time you're doing it since you started asking me questions.
All right. Let's just do like
Laat ek
this.
net teruggaan na die antwoord toe. Ten opsigte van die vorm waarop u gevra het, die Raunio vorm, dis nie 'n statutêre vorm nie. Hierdie Raunio vorm voldoen egter wel aan die bepalings wat vereis word in terme van artikel 217 en bevat genoeg inligting myns insiens om die voorvereistes vir 'n bekentenis aan te voldoen.
Kan ek asseblief sin vir sin van die man? Ek het nou sekere lyne gemis. Kan ek weer van onderkoor gaan lid van? Jy sê die vorm?
Die statutêre vorm waarvan u praat, is ek onbewus van.
The statutory form that you are referring to, I'm not familiar with. Ja.
Die betrokke vorm wat hier voor hierdie hof is, het voldoende vrae wat gevra word aan 'n deposant.
This form that is before this court, they've got enough questions or the required questions which are the requirements of this form
Om te voldoen aan die voorvereistes soos gestel is.
as per the requirements.
Maar sou ek voorsien gewees het van 'n vorm wat nie daaraan voldoen het nie, dan sou ek dit moes neerskryf, enige verdere vrae, sodat ek daaraan kon voldoen.
And if I was then provided with a form that did not meet those requirements or have enough those questions, I would then have added questions to make sure that it meets the requirements.
Thank you. Can it be interpreted?
Iform ongibuza ngayo okoqala ke noma iphepha lelo ngibuza ngalo ke angilazi. Mina ke ngiphendula ngaleli eliphambi kwami ukuthi yilona ke elinale mibuzo ke eyanele noma efanele ukuthi iyona ebuzwayo. Uma kuwukuthi nganginikezwe enye ke iform kube ukuthi ke ayinayo ke imibuzo eyanele, ngabe ngizokwengeza ke eminye ukwenza ke isiqiniseko sokuthi ngempela ke yonke le ekufanele ukuthi ibuziwe ikhona noma futhi yebo ngempela ibuziwe.
All right. To qualify that question or that answer, can you show me in that form a paragraph where a requirement of freely and voluntarily, a statement must be made freely and voluntarily as prescribed by section 217?
Sorry, Mr. Mngomezulu. Do you have a form which has those requirements to show to the witness? Because this witness is not a layperson. She's an attorney, she's a magistrate, she knows what is section 217. And according to her, 50 confession statements in the past, she has handled them. But now, wait, Mr. Mngomezulu, let's be fair to the witness. You talk about a form which you say it has the requirements which you are saying it codes 217. Show the witness that.
My Lord, if you understood me, I said, what is the difference between a statutory form and that pro forma form?
Yes, she says the prescribed form.
She gave a distinction. I said, according to this form, I never said I have a statutory form that prescribes this. I said, according to this pro forma form, does it constitute freely and voluntary as required by section 217? That's all what I want from her to tell me, that is it contained in the pro forma, freely and voluntarily.
Die woord ongedwonge en vrywillig, daai spesifieke bewoording verskyn nie hierin nie. Maar as u die vrae lees en u volg die vrae en u sien hoe dit gevra is en saamgestel is en dat dit wel gevra is aan die deposant, dan is dit die prerogatief of dit is die voorsittende beampte, in hierdie geval myself, wat myself vergewis het daarvan dat hierdie bekentenis wel vrywillig en ongedwonge afgelê is.
Those specific words that you are asking me about are not contained in this form. But if you look at the questions, how the questions are being asked, how the questions are being written down, and you would then myself as the magistrate then have to satisfy myself that indeed this statement or the confession, it is indeed made freely and voluntarily. Imibuzo ke leyo ongibuza ngayo noma amagama lawo amabili ongibuza ngawo, lana ke kulena iform awekho ukuthi ke ngokukhululekile okuphuma kuyena, kodwa uma ubheka imibuzo lena ke indlela ekangayo ebhalwe ngayo ebuzwa ngayo, mina ke nanjengemanje kufanele ngizenezeke ukuthi ngempela ke lokhu akukhulumayo noma lokhu akushoyo kuphuma kuyena akaphoqiwe.
Een baie goeie vraag wat hier saamgestel is op bladsy 6.
One very good question that has been compiled here on page 6.
Wat in 'n netedop u vraag antwoord is uitgesit in die vraag wat lees en ek haal aan.
Yes, which in a nutshell answers the very same question that you are asking, and I quote,
You have now told me that you were not influenced, encouraged, assaulted or threatened to make the statement, and that no promises were made to you in order to persuade you to do so. I wish to once again ask you to take me into your confidence and tell me if in your opinion anything irregular has been said or done to influence you to make this statement. I undertake to ensure that your allegations are immediately and properly followed up and attended to. En die antwoord nou, nothing of that sort. So, daar was 'n lyn van vrae wat tot op hierdie punt gekom het. In lig van die lyn van daai vrae en hierdie vraag het ek myself tevrede gestel as 'n landros dat hierdie bekentenis wat hy van voorneme was om te maak, wel vrywillig en ongedwonge gemaak sou word.
There was a line of questions that was put, and which then eventually led to the question that is the witness now just read. And as a result of that, I then, as the magistrate, satisfied myself that the statement or the confession that it was made freely and voluntarily. Kunombuzo ke lana obhaliwe athi ke iwona ke uma uphendula ke noma uphendula ke lokhu okubuzwa uyena ummeli ukuthi manje ke usungitshelile ke ukuthi akekho okugqugquzelile, akekho okushayile, akekho okusabisile ukuthi wenze sona lesi statement, nokuthi azikho izithembiso ezenziwe kuwena ukukushintsha ke umcabango ukuthi uze uzokhuluma la. Ngifisa ke manje futhi ukuthi ke wena ke ngifisa ucela ukuthi ungethembeke futhi ke usho ukuthi ngovo lwakho ingaba khona yini okungahambanga kahle noma okungahambi kahle okushiwo kuwena noma okwenziwe kuwena ukuthi uzokwenza lesi statement. Ngiyaqinisekisa ke ukuthi insolo zakho zizothi ke zinakwe. Wase ephendula ke ethi cha akukho okukanjalo.
Thank you.
Ek wil dit net regstel. Want ek sien dit het bietjie verlore gegaan in die tolkwerk. Dit is ten opsigte van die verklaring, die bekentenis wat gemaak sou word.
Okay,
Nie wat al reeds gemaak is nie. Wat gemaak sou word.
I just want to just rectify this, and I see that it got lost in translation. And just before I get on, my lord, I did request the witness. She makes very long statement, so it is possible that it might get lost. So can you hear that?
Yeah.
That in the statement that was about to be made, not already made.
Mrs. Cronje, I believe from what you were reading, it's the wording of a particular paragraph, which as a magistrate, you think it meets the requirement.
Meneer, ek het by vergewis dat hierdie verklaring, die bekentenis wat hy wou maak, vrywillig was gebaseer op die antwoorde wat hy gegee het.
Sir, I satisfied myself that this statement or this confession that he intended making was freely and voluntarily based on the answers that he provided me with. Ngaze neza ke mina ukuthi statement lesi ke awayefisa ukusenza noma awayezosenza ukuthi wayezosenza ngokuphuma kuyena ngeimpendulo ayenginikeza zona.
I will maintain on the wording of the paragraph. It was already a prepared wording which you read to the deponent. It's not something that is coming from the deponent to mean freely. He was answering something that has already been prepared.
Advokaat, met alle respek, dis nie die enigste vraag wat gevra is om tot daai gevolgtrekking te kom nie. Ek het die vraag geantwoord en ek volstaan by my antwoord.
Advocate, with that due respect, that is not the only question that was asked or that was put to him with regards to that. I've already provided my answer and I still maintain it. Asiwona-ke wodwa lombuzo engiqeda ufunda manje owabuzwa nokuyena-ke ngokumayelana nalokho-ke impendulo sengikunikezile futhi ngimileke kuleyo mpendulo engikunike yona.
U vra vir my of ek daar in hierdie pertinente vorm die woorde basies het van het u die of is u van voorneme om hierdie verklaring vrywillig en ongedwonge te maak. Woorde tot daai effek. Hierdie vorm het dit nie. Ek is ook nie bewus van 'n statutêre vorm wat dit het.
Okay. You specifically asked me with regards to the words freely and voluntarily. And this particular form doesn't contain or have those words. And I know of no statutory form that contains those words or those two words. Ungibuzileke mayelana nalamagama amabili. Ngokukhululekile nokuthi futhi ke awuphoqiwe awekho lawo magama lana ayikho neform futhi engiyaziyo enawo.
And I would actually appreciate to answer me as a witness, not as a magistrate. As a witness that has been sworn in. My question is...
Mr. Mngomezulu, she's a magistrate.
Yes. My lord, that cannot change.
You're saying she must answer you not as a magistrate. She is a magistrate.
She is a magistrate,
Yes.
my lord. That cannot change.
Yeah, that's
But she must... I'll make an example of Nelson Mandela, my lord. He was a witness in the matter of Louis Late. He has never been addressed as a president of the country at that time. There must be a distinction between your position and as being sworn in as a witness.
Yeah,
Hence,
sorry, you may have a point.
she can easily say, advocate. I mean, she's inviting me to draw such conclusions.
No.
As I'm requesting the court, for the protection of this witness, as the duty of the court, she must understand that where she is seated, she is a witness.
Yes.
The evidence that she's going to... I'm talking about parole evidence here. That's the oral evidence that you're giving. What you did outside is an extrinsic evidence. We are trying to follow the extrinsic evidence, whether you complied with it. You are the witness to say that. Hence, if I'm saying get into the answers, the wording, let's look at paragraph 1A, for instance. Can you please read it for me?
I inform the deponent that I am a magistrate.
Thank you. Stop there. Thank you. I just want to go through the wording.
Ngimazisile-ke loyo owayephambi kwami ukuthi ngiyimantshi.
What were you expecting from the deponent if that forms tell the deponent that you are the magistrate? What does it say?
Meneer,
Was it necessary for that form to say I'm the magistrate?
Natuurlik moet die man weet vir wie hy verskyn. Hy behoort te weet in watter omstandighede hy hom bevind, waarheen hy gevat is, voor wie hy verskyn, met wie hy praat.
Yes, of course he had to know before whom was he appearing, the circumstances under which he was or he found himself in. Bakumele ukuthi azike ukuthi uphambi kobani ukuthi futhi nesimo-ke aye ngaphansi kwaso.
The introduction in the presence of an attorney, your introduction in the presence of the attorney, was that not sufficient enough for him to believe that you are a magistrate?
Meneer, op daai stadium het ek nog nie vir enige iemand gesê dat ek 'n landros is nie. Niemand sou geweet het dat ek 'n landros is nie. Ek het nie 'n toga aan nie. Ek's in siviele drag en ek's in 'n kantoor.
At that stage, sir, I hadn't informed anyone that I was a magistrate. No one knew. I wasn't wearing my gown or my robe, and I was in my civilian clothing, and I was in an office.
That
Ngaleso
means-
sikhathi leso-ke akekho umuntu engangimtshelile ukuthi ngiyimantshi, ngangagqokile-ke igown noma irobe yami yokuthi ngiyimantshi, ngigqoke nje iy'ngubo zami-ke futhi ngisehhovisi.
Hierdie man het gevra om na 'n hof toe gevat te word. Hy word in 'n kantoor ingevat met 'n persoon met siviele drag.
This gentleman requested to go to court, or this gentleman requested to be taken to court. He is then taken into an office with a person who is in civilian clothing.
Can we-
Umuntu lona wacela ukuthi athathwe asiwe enkantolo.
Can we
Usuyang-
not... Sorry, sir.
Usuyangena ke manje ungena kwihhovisi elinomuntu oyigqokele nje ingubo zakhe.
I'm asking you, Mrs. Cronje, do not involve or say something that is not asked. My question is, before you completed, there are particulars of the deponent on top there, which you got from either the lawyer or the deponent or the investigating officer. Do you understand?
Ja, ek verstaan wat jy sê.
Yes, I understand what you say.
My question is it, according to that paragraph 1A, was it necessary to mention that you are a magistrate?
Natuurlijk.
Does that not
Of course.
constitute inducement?
Nee,
No.
I'll leave it for argument. My submission and I'll put it to you that pro forma on its own, it has on a face value of it. We call it a patent defect. It has an element of inducement. If you say I'm a magistrate, that means already you sway the impulse of the deponent. Do you agree?
Nee.
No.
Thank you. I'll leave it for argument. Proceed. I'll stop you wherever I want to stop. Proceed with that paragraph. You said, I'm the magistrate, comma.
And I'm not in any way involved in
Thank
the
you.
investigation.
Thank
Futhi ke
you.
angisiyona-ke ingxenye yophenyo.
He did not ask. You are telling him. You are making him comfortable, according to, am I right? I'm a magistrate. I'm not involved in the investigation. You are making the deponent comfortable. Is that not so?
Dit sal die effek hê.
That will have that effect. Yes. Yebo ke lokho ukuthi ngimtshela ukuthi angisona magistrate, asole ngiyi-magistrate futhi ke angisona ingxenye yophenyo. Into ke leyo engamenza ke ukuthi ke naye ke abe sena akhululekayo.
Hy het ook 'n reg om te weet hoekom hy daar is.
He also has a right, sorry.
Waar ek inpas.
Also has a right to know as to why he was there and where do I fit in.
don't
Futhi
answer-
wanelungelo lokwazi-ke ukuthi ngiwubani mina-ke nokuthi kungani elaphayana nokuthi mina-ke ngihlanganiswa yini nalokho.
Don't get emotional, ma'am. Answer my question as I ask you. Because I followed the logic. If you say I made him comfortable, I'm satisfied. There's a next question to follow. Do you understand?
I don't know what is the basis for saying the witness is getting emotional. I think if my learned friend can just confine himself just to asking questions without attacking the witness.
My Lord, when I'm asking the question from the witness and tends to say things which do not relate to my question, as it has been indicated, that is a magistrate. He is actually getting out of the scope of the profession. Hence, I just want to confine the magistrate or the witness, not the magistrate, the witness on the line of questioning, because I've got the reason to stick on that paragraph 1A.
Sorry, Mr. Mngomezulu, I don't wish to interfere. Doesn't Section 217 speak of a magistrate who can take a confession?
It speaks about the magistrate.
Yes.
That's
and
correct.
she is approached by her senior, Mrs. Duplessis, as a magistrate to go and take a confession. It's just egregious that she happens to be a witness, but she is also a magistrate. And she, when she was told, asked or requested by Mrs. Duplessis to take a confession, she was being instructed to do or requested to do so as a magistrate, as stipulated in Section 217 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
I mean, of the Criminal Procedure Act.
May I clarify that?
Yes, okay.
The reason why I want to clarify is because we are running away from the element of inducement. A provision specifically say it must be made before the magistrate. It does not introduce the magistrate to the taking of the confession. I'm not sure if you understand,
No, I
but
don't.
I said I
I
want to
don't.
leave it for argument.
Yeah.
May I repeat what I was submitting before the
Yes,
Lordship?
yeah, okay.
My Lordship is that Section 217 says it must be taken, is directing us that such a particular confession must be taken by a magistrate.
Yes.
But now, you are the magistrate, you've got the forms from Mrs. Duplessis, everyone, especially in the presence of an attorney. She should have actually introduced herself to say, I'm the attorney, I'm the magistrate who's coming to take a confession. I was told that I must come and assist in the taking of a confession. Now, my concern is about the patent defect that is on that pro forma. Because
Okay.
when you introduce yourself in a statement where he must freely make a statement, there's no point that she was supposed to say, I'm a magistrate.
What should she have said?
A statement,
According to you.
according to me, a statement must have been narrated immediately to say, on this particular day, this is what I've
No,
done.
no, the question, no. what would you have said? Because you say she was not supposed to have said, I am a magistrate. Now I'm just inquiring, what should she have said?
Meaning, my lord, must I correct the pro forma according to the...
No, I'm just asking you because you're saying...
My lord, I've never conducted a confession, and I'm not empowered by any law to do it. So I cannot think of a word that I can use when I'm taking a confession. I'm a lay person when it comes to that. A person with 50 years confessions that she has made, they don't see the element of inducement in that paragraph A. Because all that the deponent was going to say is because he believed, and I'm not done with that paragraph. May I still proceed with that paragraph? Can you continue to read that paragraph, ma'am?
That I do not work with the police or any other person in this case, and that he can speak freely and without fear in my presence.
Nokuthi ke angisebenzi namaphoyisa noma ke imuphi omunye umuntu kuleli cala leli, nokuthi ke angakhuluma ke ngokukhululekile angesabi ngikhona.
Thank you. The wording, you can speak. Do you agree that is not coming from the deponent?
I've never claimed that it came from him.
Angikaze ngisho ukuthi leli gama ke ukuthi ungakhuluma ukuthi libuya kuyena.
But you directed, in terms of that wording, you directed the deponent to speak because you told him that you are not a police officer, you are not part of the investigation, you are a magistrate. But you further say you can. Do you understand what I'm saying?
He had a choice to speak or not to speak. It was his choice.
Ukuthi ke akhulume angakhulumi kwakuyena lokho.
So what is the next? What was the answer given by the deponent today? It's handwritten, if I'm not mistaken. After that paragraph, after paragraph 1A.
There is no answer given by the deponent at that point in time because I continued to explain to him paragraph B and C before I asked him if he understood the explanation.
Ayikho ke impendulo awayinikeza ke ngaleso sikhathi leso ke ngoba ngaqhubeka ke ngayo paragraph C B kanye no paragraph C ngaphambili kokuthi ngimbuze ke ingaba uyezwa ke lokhu engiqeda ukuchaza.
Let's hear what paragraph B says.
You also informed that if necessary you will be afforded protection against any irregularities.
Thank you, stop there. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Futhi nokuthi atshelwe ke noma ke watshelwa ke ukuthi uma isidingo sikhona ke uzovikelwa noma uzonikezwa ukuvikeleka kuko nakuphi ke okungahambi kahle.
Is that not a promise? Is that not a promise? I'm asking, is that not a promise?
It may be construed as a promise that he needs to, if he feels threatened, that arrangements will be made for his
I'm still there,
protection.
ma'am. Don't go further than that. I ask you
Do
to
you
stop.
want me to interpret for your client, sir?
No, I wanted to
But
stop.
she still, I need to interpret what she says. It's for your client, sir. Please allow me to. Lana ke ungasho ke ungachaza lokho ukuthi yebo isona isithembiso lesi ngokuthi uyatshelwa ke uma kuwukuthi uzizwa ngathi ke ukhona ke noma ke uyesaba ukuthi ke amalungiselelo azokwenziwa ke ukuthi avikeleke.
I ended where you said he will be protected and you considered that it amounts to a promise.
Hy is nie gesê dat hy will be protected nie. He was informed, and I quote, if necessary, he will be afforded protection against any irregularities.
Lana ke kuchazwa ke ukuthi uma noma ke uma isidingo sikhona ke uzothi aqinisekiswe ke ukuthi uyavikeleka.
Did you explain what kind of irregularities you were referring to?
Nee,
No, angishongo ke ukuthi uma ngikhuluma ngokuthi ke uma kuukuthi kukhona okungazange kwenziwe kahle noma kuhamba kahle ukuthi ngangishoni ngangikhuluma ngani.
Did you establish whether the deponent understood what you meant by irregularities?
Nie op daai stadium nie.
Not at that stage. Ngaleso sikhathi ke angishongo ke noma ke ngiqinisekiseke ukuthi uyezwa ke noma uyazisisa yini ukuthi ngisho ukuthini uma ngikhuluma ngokungalongo ngokungenziwanga kahle noma ngokungahambanga kahle.
To put it on record, what irregularities were you referring to?
Enige iets.
Anything.
Enige beïnvloeding, enige dreigemente, enige iets wat gebeur het.
Nee.
Want dit kan enige iets wees wat uit sy oogpunt onreëlmatig is.
And I was referring to anything, any influence, any threats that were made, anything that could, in his eyes or in his view, could have then been an irregularity.
Dis nie aan hom verduidelik wat dit is van my kant af nie, want ek wou hom nie beïnvloed het daaroor nie. So as hy ongelukkig was oor enige iets, dan sou hy dit vir my gesê het.
It was not explained to him at that stage as to what irregularity is. If there was anything, then he would have informed me or told me about it.
Hy moes wel geweet het dat hy my in sy vertroue kon neem om enige probleme wat hy gehad het, enigiets wat hy beskou het as 'n onreëlmatigheid te kon noem.
He had to know that, or he knew that, or what he had to know was that he had to take me into his confidence that anything that happened or any irregularity that happened, that he had to inform me about that. Kwakuwukuthi kwakufanele azike ukuthi nokuma yini ke eyayenzekile futhi ngazange yenzeke ngendlela noma ngendlela kwakufanele ukuthi yenzeke ngayo angitshele.
Sonder dat daar enige idees in sy kop geplant word.
Without putting any ideas into his head, ngaphandle kokuthi nje ubusufaka ke noma yini ke ekhanda lakhe noma ke umfakele nje ama ideas ekhanda lakhe.
But with regard to irregularity, you are the only one who knew about or the context or the content of irregularity. That has never been explained to the deponent. That's my point. You're the only one who knew about irregularities.
Ek was nie bewus van enige onreëlmatigheid op daardie stadium nie, meneer.
I wasn't aware of any irregularity at that stage, sir. Ngangingazi ngalutho ke ekwangabe yenzeka ke engazange yenzeke ngendlela ngaleso sikhathi leso.
Can you get back, let's get to paragraph C.
This is not a trial and I'm not hearing any charge against you.
Akusikona ke lokhu ukuqhula kwecala futhi ke angizange lana ke uzolalela icala noma amacala owethweswayo.
All right. That's very important.